Evening and welcome to another edition of interviewing people that I really admire. And Elaine Molloy is one of my favorite people and one of my favorite healers and teachers. So I'm really honored to have her back on the channel. And hi, Elaine, how are you doing?
Good. Hi, Adam. Hi, everybody. And thanks for having me back, Adam. You're one
Oh,
of my
my
favorite people, too.
Oh, thank you. One of my pleasure. So a few people are coming in. Hi, Suzette, Millie, Claire, Carmen. Welcome. I don't know if I've seen you before, but welcome.
Mhm.
And Laura's in. All right. So people are starting to find us. So my gosh, we're going through a lot on planet Earth right now, and we need newer Earth leaders like Elaine. She's a master healer, and teaches a lot about healing. Also, in fact, she's helped to train Heather Isara, that does a lot of work here on the channel, as you know, and other very prominent healers. Now, I have a fairly long list of things that Elaine's doing. And by the way, her website, which is temporarily down, but her website's up on the chat, as well as her email if you want to contact her. So what is it Elaine up to? Well, last time, well, actually, she was on with Heather a while back, over a year ago. But the last time she and I did something together, she was in Ireland doing a spring equinox transmission. It was very windy, and she moved it inside. It's very, very powerful. Some of you might remember that. Um, so she does intuitive readings and coaching to help release blockages. This is where I need my glasses on. Okay, I knew these were coming back. And she's also a very gifted medical intuitive, as well as a very gifted energy healer. And she does something called the Power of Three coaching and reading, which really intrigued me because I developed a system of affirmations that I call affirmation times three, because I know the powers of three. And this is before I even knew about like the Tesla code and Joe Dispenza and teachers like that. It just kind of came to me through spirit that, if you do it in threes, it's more powerful. And it makes sense because zero's the void, right? One is the manifestation, two is the duality, and three and all of its multiples are those frequencies or forces that act on the physical, to change the fractal universe and everything. So, how do you do your power of three coaching, if I may ask?
Okay, so we call it the Power of Three, Adam, because it's led by me and then my colleague Vera Korchala, who is from Finland. And then the third person is the client, the person who comes to us for coaching.
Gotcha.
So I tend to lead the session by we open up the space and we listen to what the client is wanting help with, and so I am tuning in, listening, channeling, hearing the guides and what needs to be sorted out. And I then discuss that with the client, and then I take the client to a certain point, and that's when Vera comes in. And Vera is a somatic healer, so and she's very much connected with the body and helps our clients to connect with their body, because with their bodies rather, everything that is unhealed is held in the body, in the energy of the body. And so she gets them to emote the stuck energy, which can often be surprising how it comes out. It can be comedic. She helps them by acting what she's intuiting. Sometimes it's like, it could be anger at a parent, or anger at a friend or a colleague. So she'll lead them along and help them to act it out. And when that stuck emotion comes out, the person feels so free, so freed up. The energy might kind of erupt, and it might come out in tears or coughing or yawning or whatever, or through movement. But once it is let go of, they feel much, much freer, and freer to live their lives in a better way for them. So we call it the Power of Three for that reason. So it's me, Vera, and the client.
That's interesting. That's still being that numerology of three, and like the affirmations times three, basically. So that sounds really interesting. Now I had before the first time, even before the first time you were on the channel for an interview, you did a very nice medical intuition reading for me. I remember the first thing you say, your energy's so nebulous. So basically you're telling me I needed to ground, ground all that cosmic frequency. So I
Yeah,
took that to heart, and I really doubled down on my
great.
grounding. I think my channeling got a lot stronger after that. I have to say.
Amazing.
So it's really amazing stuff. Basically, now also Elaine runs retreats too, which is really great. We're doing a weekend retreat up here in the Catskills. That a lot of it's the Escape the Matrix retreat. So she runs retreats in Costa Rica, in St. Augustine, Florida. I believe that's where you're living now, or
That's correct.
so
Yeah.
St. Augustine,
St. Augustine.
Westport, Ireland. It
Hmm.
gets better. Helsinki, Finland. Um, and it's the Return to Your Senses retreat, is what he's calling it. Would you like to elaborate on that for us?
Yeah, that was a name that was given to me. So when Vera and I were collaborating to create our retreat in Costa Rica, we were trying to come up with a name, and I heard "Return to Your Senses." And I don't think I fully grasped at that point why we were going to call it that. But as we were leading the retreat in Costa Rica, it became very clear why it was called Return to Your Senses, because it seemed to us, and the clients who came as well said the same thing, that it was like a collaboration between us and the land in Costa Rica. And I don't know if you've been to Costa Rica, Adam, but
Not yet.
oh, it's
On my
just
bucket list.
just amazing, and it's not even expensive to get there. It's quite easy. It's a hop from Orlando for me anyway.
Yeah,
But it's like we had this beautiful place we hosted it in, and it had a veranda overlooking the jungle and the mountain. And so you had like the mountain and the mist coming in over the mountain. You had all the sounds and the birds of the jungle. And so we might be doing, say, Vera would be leading a yoga session, and then suddenly you would see like two toucans fly across, or a massive butterfly, or a monkey darting through the trees.
right.
And it seems like they were, one of the retreat guests had said, let's have a competition to see who sees the first monkey. And so we saw a monkey on the first day. And then when we did our closing retreat, our closing ceremony, where we were blessing the land and thanking the land, a monkey jumped from one branch to the other. And it was kind of like it bookended, the monkey bookended the retreat. So it was very sensory. We worked with the elements, we worked with air, ether, earth, fire, water. We did that through the yoga, we did it through being in Costa Rica, and we did it through emotional release. It was very sensory.
Wow, that's sounds amazing. And I was actually going to ask you about your work with the elements also. That was another
Mm-hmm.
question that I had written down. And I find that to be very powerful. I do my own version of that also. And I
Mm-hmm.
practiced, I learned a little bit about Wicca and or neo-paganism, and we always work with the elements and Native American spirituality. Very, very powerful stuff. If you'd like to speak on that a little bit,
For
that'd be all.
sure, for sure. I think it's often how I lead my medical intuition, to be honest, because
Mm,
my first training was in Ayurveda. And Ayurveda is the ancient science of India, and it is based on the five elements. So it's based on the air, ether, earth, fire, and water. And we are all composed of air, ether, earth, fire, and water. And you can tell people have different body types, and they've different mindsets, and they've different ways of speaking and moving, and different likes and dislikes when it comes to diet and lifestyle and exercise and so on. And so this is because you are made up of predominantly two, we all have all of the elements, otherwise we couldn't live, but
mm.
we're made up of predominantly two elements. I myself am made up more of fire and earth, and so I have to work to keep them in balance. And it's handy to know what foods balance you and what foods imbalance you. So when a person comes to me for medical intuition, I am, apart from listening to what they're saying and also hearing what the guides are saying, I'm also hearing which elements are out of balance. So a person with a fire imbalance might have a rash, or they might have a problem with anger or controlling their emotions, the hot-headed types emotions. They might be like overly ambitious or stressed. Or they could have like burning sensations in the body, like anything that is an itis is a burning sensation. So arthritis or what else? Colitis. Anything with itis is a burning sensation.
Mm,
So I'm listening to what they're saying, and I'm leading with Ayurveda. I'm leading with the elements. And then apart from that, I work with a healing energy, rainbow energy that's also called Arch, Ancient Rainbow Conscious Healing. And that is based on the elements as well. So if I'm working with healing energy, I will be using the elements to say to cool them, to warm them up, to bring them more. You were saying that I had told you you needed to ground, so you would have had a lot of air and ether going on,
that I
a lot
do.
up in your head, especially when you're channeling. You're basically in your head and out in the ethers. So um, I help them to figure out what is it, which element is out of balance, and then I bring them back into balance. And then I myself, to balance myself, I've started to do more qigong, especially in the morning.
Right.
And there's a beautiful teacher. Her name is Yochi, and she has all kinds of videos. And so you can choose anything to balance the elements within yourself, or to balance anything really for grounding. Even she has one for brain balancing that I really love. So yeah, a lot of what I do has to do with the elements.
It's wonderful. You're describing like fire and balance thing. Like I had eczema. Let's say I actually have colitis.
Oh.
I have arthritis. I have all those itises. Oh my goodness. Um, but the good news is that either I've been able to heal them through intention and energy, or
Mhm.
diminish them. So it's all gone better over time, basically. So I guess
Okay.
I'm working through some of my fire imbalances. You talk about the elements, saying, well, I know I'm a lot air and a lot fire, so those are the two that I have the most of.
Mhm.
I mean,
Mhm.
water, yeah, I'm pretty emotional also. But then talk about, having like issues with like frustration or anger issues. I mean, people that watch me wouldn't know that, but I do. Basically, I do
Yeah.
have those issues come up from time to time.
Mhm.
So
That's very typical then, what we would call a pitta imbalance,
yeah, yeah,
which is the
Vata,
fire
Pita,
dosha.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other one, I forgot what the other one was called, but I know I'm Pita and Vata.
Vata,
Yeah,
pitta vata. Yeah.
when I did my Ayurveda, although I was in a lot worse shape than that. So I mean, this is like fascinating, and it just sounds like you do a lot of work with other people that you learn from others, but a lot
Yeah.
of what you get you download from source or from your guides or Sekhmet or Mary Magdalene.
Hmm.
Interestingly, you were telling me off camera earlier how you done some work with the Magdalena before, or they really honored that spirit. And yesterday was her feast day, July 22nd.
Hmm.
So I didn't do it this year, but I think it was 2 years ago. I did a channeling, and she came through, and it was great. She's talking about her time with Jesus, and things that were true in the Bible, and we'll just say not so true, or
Right.
mistranslated. We'll say basically. Um,
Okay.
but then I tried again. She didn't come through. So it might, for me, might have been a one and done, experience with her. But I love that energies and everything. I'm just curious. And I know I've asked you before, in the past when you were on before, but what got you into all of this? Did you just feel a calling, or did you have some crazy experience? Like some people have near death experiences, and all of a sudden they wake up, or is it just, I'm inquiring minds want to know, right? I'm just curious.
Mm. I had a profound experience when I was 12, which I did explain before in this channel. And I
Yes.
will just sum it up by saying it was a visitation from the Holy Spirit when I was outside sleeping in a tent. I wasn't even asleep, I was awake with my friend. And it came when my friend was very, very scared, and I had just been confirmed in the Catholic faith. And all the training there is about the Holy Spirit, the Holy Spirit. But I did definitely have a visitation where this presence came into the tent and spoke through me to calm my friend and to calm us down. And then, Adam, there was nothing for years. I just was a normal kid, playing hockey and learning languages and going to school and working hard and all the usual, and having all the usual kids' experiences. And I'm glad for that, because I think if you are highly intuitive from a young age, it can create a difficult life. So I had a normal childhood. But when I was in my late 20s, I was working in business. And that's what I thought I wanted to do, and I do definitely have a business mind, and I have a lot of business ideas and that I enjoy putting to use. But I was in somebody else's business, let's say. I was working for somebody else, and it was kind of dull for me. It was boring, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. I thought I wanted to be in international businesses because of the languages I had studied. But I was starting to have health issues because I think I was frustrated. I was bored. I was frustrated. Didn't feel fulfilled in my work. And so I started searching for a solution to my health issues. And I stumbled on Deepak Chopra, and the first book was The Seven Spiritual Laws of Success, which I found out in
Deepak
Amherst. And
Chopra, or
Deepak Chopra, The Seven Spiritual
yes.
Laws of Success. I found that out in a little town in Western Massachusetts, Amherst, a very cute little town. And I delved into that, and I found it difficult to read because it's a complete shift in consciousness,
Mhm.
and it takes time to understand. When you've been raised a certain way, and maybe you're even set in your thinking, when someone speaks from in a whole different language, it can be hard to understand. And I think I had to read that book several times to really get it. But you can sum it up with, what do you love to do, and how can you help? How can you serve God and help others? So that got me thinking, what do I love to do? And I love nutrition. I loved health. I was raised by a mom who actually passed last year.
Oh,
And we used to
no.
call her the quack. But it was great that she was a quack, because she knew how to help us by using natural remedies. And she turned more often, I think I was going for acupuncture by the age of 17, which was unheard of in Ireland. The
Mm.
man, the acupuncturist, had to actually come over from England to host a clinic in Ireland. That's how few acupuncturists there were at the time. So she was great on nutrition. She was great on remedies. She was great on alternative therapies. And so I had that love for those things in my heart. And I think deep down I wanted to help, well, myself first of all, but I wanted to help others. And I wanted that more of a heartfelt connection with others, not just the hard business that's money driven most of the time. I
Mm.
wanted to do something that mattered. So that's how I got into it. I fell into Ayurveda because of Deepak Chopra. One book led to another, a book led to a course. Then that led to a curiosity in energy healing. First, I did the Marma massage, which is the Ayurvedic, the points of consciousness, where you stimulate the points of consciousness to heal the body. Then I did Reiki. Then I did the arch healing. Then I just started really, I think everything just opened up. I started to become extremely intuitive. I started to see spirit. I started to see through the veil. I feel the more you dedicate to that aspect of your life, the more is given to you by spirit. It's like a collaboration. It's like that reciprocal arrangement I talked about with the nature of Costa Rica. It's a reciprocal arrangement between you and spirit. And I'm sure you can vouch for this, Adam. So the more you give of your life to that, the more is given back to you.
Absolutely. And when I
Yeah.
do my mediumship training, and when I do mediumship, the idea is you don't think, you talk, like, and you keep talking. And when you what's the right word? Upload it or offload it, then
Mm.
spirit provides more. You create this beautiful circle of energy. And I imagine it the same thing with healing, the same thing with Dharma or service, basically the same
Mhm.
exact thing. And yes, technically I do remember your story, but I just figured they would benefit from it. It's such a fascinating story, and I always love how different people get into spirituality and things like that. I think with me it was similar. I wanted to heal myself basically, so I started to learn things like energy work, mind over matter, and stuff like that, and I can totally relate because once I left college, I was working, doing office work, and I just felt like well, I had my initial awakening or shaking, whatever you want to call it, when I was 19. It was more of a shaking because it's all of a sudden it's like flash of light. It's like, oh my God, everything I thought was true is a lie. I need to learn the truth. I just had this flash of just knowing the deal, and my whole life changed after that. Some of it not so good, but I did follow through on my spiritual work and my spiritual development from that point on, basically. And there's a point of me saying that, and the point escapes me. So since it escapes me, you have created something called Tea with Elaine.
Yes.
Yeah, will you share that with it? Oh, by the way, if anybody has a question for Elaine, please write it in the chat, and the first ones that I see that are super relevant, I'll flash it if she might be able to answer it, basically. But anyway, Tea with Elaine.
Yeah, I created Tea with Elaine because in Ireland, all our problems are solved over a cup of tea. And you can't go to someone's house without being offered tea. It's almost forced on you, you know. It's rude to refuse. Heads up if you're going to Ireland. So initially I just started, if somebody came to me for a reading, I would offer them a cup of tea. And I noticed that they really enjoyed that they loved, I suppose, the specialness of it and being served and the comfort and the nurturing of it. And then I came up with the idea of serving tea, but also with a home-baked scone. And to be honest with you, I had never successfully baked scones before. And there's a secret to it. And I'll tell you the secret for those who are interested. So you have to freeze the butter, and then you grate the butter into the mixture. And then you don't knead it too hard. You just the woman who taught me says you use a claw hand and you just sort of bring the mixture together. So this creates the most delectable fluffy scone, and people just adore this. So they get a cup of tea, a scone with whipped cream and jam, and then they have me for an hour or an hour and a half, and I give them all a reading. So they all get a mini reading. They get to ask questions, and then at the end, I get people up and moving, and I do an energy healing transmission. So I do these, of course, in Florida. A lot of people do tend to pass through Florida. I have them at least once a month. I'm starting to do them now twice a month. But if you're interested in Tea with Elaine and you're coming to Florida, or if you even would like me to come and you host a group at your house, wherever you are, you can let me know by email. Yeah, so it's very successful, and it's taken off.
And there is Elaine's email on the screen for everybody to see, to contact her for a healing, a reading, a medical intuitive. And if you just happen to be heading to the St. Augustine area, maybe you can catch up on her tea with Elaine. That sounds like a beautiful, like intimate gathering. Sounds like people just get very relaxed, very comfortable with you, and then the readings would really flow more easily. Well, this is a question. This is an interesting comment here from Colleen. She's saying that she had emailed your energy work last time you were on with me, which was a while ago, but she didn't follow up on it. But she's saying that she had met some of her family in Ireland 2 years ago, in Limerick, Dublin, and Killarney.
Yeah, Killarney, right. Yeah.
So that's really good. So we don't have to tell you or anybody here. Let me take this off the screen. That the world is just going freaking bonkers, right? But it's a good bonkers. It's not a bad one, because there's a method to spirit's madness, basically. And the way I see it is these higher frequencies keep, chipping away at all the lower frequencies that the earth field is holding, which is basically, based on, human pride, ego, and all that that kind of negative stuff. And as these higher frequencies are hitting it, it's dislodging that, and then we have a lot of upheaval. But I believe it's leading to the higher light, to a better world ahead, all that kind of stuff, basically.
Mhm.
Um, so I don't know if you've how what your experiences have been around that. I mean, I notice a lot of changes in my body. It's almost like every day I feel like I'm a new person now, basically. It's like crazy, and it really reached a new level like about a week or two ago. The
Mhm.
interesting thing is I have this kidney stone. I think it doesn't hurt right now. I don't think I passed it yet, but I have this. But I swear there's a some kind of mystical and spiritual side to this, because I got extremely sick. I was telling Elaine off camera, and some of you
Mhm.
know the story, that my digestive system really like shut down like completely. The gas pains were are worse than anything I've felt thus far from the actual stone itself. It's only 2.6 millimeters, but my
Mhm.
body, I could probably write a book on how my body works differently than most people, basically. I mean, some
Mhm.
things are the same, some things are different, not to
Mhm.
my own horn or anything, but it's interesting. And so I theorize that the stone left the kidney and started to go into the oh god, what's that called?
The ureter.
Yeah, the ureter. Um,
Yeah.
then that's usually when people realize they have a stone, is when that happens, basically.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I think my whole body just went into like this complete like fight or flight, like freak out mode, and my digestion just stopped, basically.
Mhm.
And I couldn't pee, and I was drinking water and tea, couldn't eat. I fasted for a good day and a half, which was actually good for me. Then that night, I was actually going to go to the emergency room that night, because, like, if I'm not peeing, this is a medical emergency. But I started to pee, and then I was up all night peeing, basically. But anyway, I think my body just did that to just flush it and flush it all out, basically.
Mhm.
Well, in any event, it's mystical in a way that my perceptions have changed. I mean, I don't feel great, honestly, but I'm dealing with it. But it's almost like when I meditate, the buzz is stronger. When I close my eyes, I feel spirit even more. And when I'm falling asleep,
Mhm.
it's like I'm vibrating, basically. And I just think that this is just the upgrade. We've been talking a lot about this on the channel, how we are all in an energetic upgrade. It's like a shift to higher dimensional reality and everything. So after a long-winded intro into this question, I was wondering what you've been noticing about that, and maybe what you've been experiencing also.
Yeah, I have been noticing things, and my friends and my clients have been commenting things. One thing I noticed, which I actually had forgotten about, was one night when I was sleeping, I had some kind of I don't know, like a rush of energy go through me, and I also felt as if my body sort of turned to light and then turn back again to a normal body. So there are sort of freaky things going on. I feel like that might be something to do with updating from a carbon based body to a crystalline body. And I think in that moment, I might have actually stopped it as well, because I don't think I went with the flow of it. I think I kind of put an energetic halt to it. But that's something that's just occurring to me as you're speaking, Adam. Today, I had a client on the phone who, um, I do the medical intuition, and there's another thing that's changing for me. I could actually see her body as like fascia and ligaments, tendons, joints, muscles, which I had never seen it like that before. I've always just perceived where blockages and things are. But I could also see her third eye, like this huge pulsation, and I could see that her body was almost crystalline. So it's like as if she's three-quarters of the way there, but she's having a little bit of difficulty with that transition, some glitches. But to work on someone like her who's very high consciousness, it goes very, very fast. So it's
Mm.
because she's high consciousness, it's like it takes just seconds to work on her. I'm being told something now about your kidney stone. Um,
Good. I
yeah,
told you where I was feeling that you were getting a
yeah,
message. Cool.
yeah. They're saying it's a purging. So
Yes.
the
I
energy is
agree.
coming in waves. So this is what I've been perceiving. And I feel like the whole last month has been exhausting. Like I've actually had to take naps nearly every day. I'm like a little old lady at this point, but I've had to like almost conk out or switch myself off for like an hour a day, to cope with these upgrades. And I'm perceiving, I don't watch any news. I really almost don't know what's going on in the world except for what flashes up on my laptop sometimes. But I'm perceiving these waves of energy that are coming in to enlighten us. So, waves and waves of energy. And when those waves of energy come in, there's a purging that goes on with that. So,
Yep.
anything that doesn't serve, anything that's in your emotional body, in your physical body, the mental body, even the spiritual body, that's got to go. And in your case, it's a kidney stone or stones. Now, you don't have to, this is where they're talking to me, you don't have to suffer with that, Adam.
Good.
It's
The
about
mantra.
letting go. It's about letting go.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, there is an emotion associated with that, which I'll talk to you about privately.
Okay.
But
Good.
if you tap in yourself, you will also know what it is. It's very old and it's very last century. I've been saying this a lot lately. That's very last century. But the emotion that has to be resolved or let go of, if you just look at it and face it, I feel you will dissolve the stone. So it's just almost holding space for that stone and then letting it go. And you don't have to suffer with it. You can let that go with light and with ease and say, well, thank you. Thank you for the lesson. And that's done now. So that's that. And then we were also talking a little bit about timelines. So there are like, excuse me, there are agendas going on. And as soon as there is an agenda, there's a resolution. So it's kind of crazy times. And you know how you make these predictions, and for me, you're the only one I listen to for predictions, actually,
Oh, thank you.
because they're true. And we tend to be on the same page, but it's like at the moment you can make a prediction, but tomorrow it's going to be different. So that's how fast the energy is going. And if someone over here, let's say we'll call them the left side, if someone over here has an agenda, a global agenda, that's going to be changed like that. Nothing is sticking. I think that's what I'm trying to say, or that's what they're trying to say. Nothing is sticking. So if nothing is sticking, there's nothing to fear. And if nothing is sticking, you really can only create your own life, right?
Yeah.
You can't depend on what's happening in the world. So you have to just focus on your own little life, your own circle, your own family, your own friends, etc. Because we're all, it's almost like we're fractals of the whole, right?
Yeah.
So if we create a good fractal over here, that's going to affect the other fractal here, and so on and so on. So focus on, this is for the general public now, focus on your own light, your own life, your own family, your own friends. Focus on how you can be of service to others, because whatever global agendas are happening, they could be different tomorrow. And it is, as you say, Adam, it is all going towards the light. It's all going towards the new earth. It's going towards peace. It's going towards harmony. Whatever agendas they are, they're not going to work out.
Yeah, totally. I definitely hear what you're saying and everything. And I wouldn't bother watching or looking at news headlines myself if I wasn't like doing this work and these predictions, because
Yeah,
the truth of the matter is like these headlines and news are manufactured to create a certain mindset to drive the thinking of the masses to continue to forward the agenda. So the truth is going to be behind the news anyways, but it will give you clues, right? So
right.
listen, something else you're saying I wanted to touch on, I can't remember, but it's all
Mm.
really good stuff. And somebody there's a couple of questions that popped in. So Midnight Apothecary was asking, why is everything always about letting go? Although it's kind of laughing, so it might have been a little bit of a facetious comment. And I mean, my answer would be it's because you're perfect. You're spirit. You can't get more spiritual than being spirit, right? So if
Right.
you're not feeling like you're spiritual, if you have issues, it's what you let go of. It's like what J. Krishnamurti, a very famous quote of his, is that spirituality is not a matter of daily increase; it's a matter of daily decrease. So you let go, right, to shed like all the
Mm.
layers of negative programming or negative experiences or blocks or whatever. I mean, that's my thing. You might have a different idea or something
Mm.
to add to that.
Well, I mean, I see a kidney stone as you're releasing something from your body that doesn't need.
Yeah,
And a stone can create a blockage, so your kidneys want to function better. So in that way it's a physical letting go, but I can perceive that there is an emotion behind it that's
yeah.
very old, and it's probably taken a long time to create that stone,
I think I
even though
have
it's
an
tiny.
idea actually, because it goes from lifetime to lifetime. I can trace 3 different lifetimes and having very similar like emotions. And of course, what do kidneys do? They process water. Of course, emotions are going to be
Mhm.
associated with the kidneys, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So there's another question farther down from Sarah, if I can find that one. So Sarah's asking, I started my spiritual awakening journey intentionally in the last year. I wonder if you could tell me if I'm doing it right. Oh, I don't know if we can,
Mm.
but in a way that honors my path and serves others. So it's more of a psychic question, I guess, than a question about your experience or your work. But
Mm. I think as long as Sarah feels that she's serving, first of all, it's very important to serve yourself, because women especially can be in the mindset of helping others and giving it, everything away, and that doesn't get us very far because we can leave ourselves depleted. So that's just the first caveat, I would say. But as long as Sarah feels that she's doing good for others, helping others in some way using her gifts and abilities, then she definitely is on a spiritual path. It means she's conscious. She's
yeah,
conscious, she's open, aware, she's helping, and I can't imagine a better path than that.
yeah, the way I'm seeing it, at least for Sarah, we're all different. Is that as long as you're doing it right. Because if something is, I don't want to say wrong, but is out of alignment or out of balance, you'll only learn that through the experience anyways,
Mm.
like like challenge is a gift because we learn through challenge. We probably never would have invented a wheel if there wasn't a challenge of getting heavy objects from point A to point B, basically. So
Mm.
we both think that you're doing it right,
Yeah.
and this is a good channel to be in because I created this channel for people in this time that are having their spiritual awakenings, and this Leo season is going to be a big spike from what I'm seeing. This is one of my psychic predictions that the energy is coming in this Leo season. Yeah, new moon's tomorrow. Lionsgate portal opens up, around the 28th or so, but it's already opening up. And a lot of people are going to have their first awakenings, and some people that have had awakenings are going to get their upgrades, basically. So a lot of people are going to be changing, and that can include us also. At least that's what I feel. Anyways, hopefully we answered your question. Um, and you're definitely on point with everything. So I don't know if you want to do like a little like demonstration or a little work, guided channeling or raising consciousness. Yeah, I know you've done Egyptian work. We do a lot with Sekhmet around here.
Mm-hmm.
If you'd like, no pressure, but
Yeah, I'll just see what comes. I haven't really planned this, but I'm sure Spirit would want to put something through me. I am thinking about something I read. I've been following a person called Orion Flame on Facebook, and I think it's a he wrote about the oversoul, and he said that yeah, that he is, what he's writing is coming from the oversoul, and some people will read what he's saying, and because he's exposing a lot of things, people get upset with what he's writing. But he said he doesn't have a choice, that it's coming from the structure, the architecture of his oversoul, and that this is what he's coming to do in this lifestyle. So basically, you could take it or leave it. And so I found it very fascinating what he was saying. And he said very few people are actually operating from the standpoint of their oversoul, that really we're operating from the point of the soul, which is just a small fractal, a small piece of your oversoul. But when you start embodying your oversoul, that's when your whole life changes, shifts. It becomes much more magnificent, much more powerful. So I think based on that, then I would like anyone who's listening to sort of tune in. Some people might muscle test. Some people might just ask the question, what percentage of my oversoul am I operating from, or am I embodying? So take a moment now and ask yourself, what percentage of your oversoul are you embodying? And then I'm going to do a transmission, and there may be a channeling with it. As I said, it's not planned, to help you. And one of the ladies questioned, why are we always talking about release? Well, sometimes you have to release to embrace. So when you release what doesn't serve you, you can embrace more of who you are, or what's for you, let's say. So the first thing I'm going to do is to send a transmission to help you release what does not serve you, or what you're done with, what no longer suits you, or you need to work through or have in your physical body, emotional body, mental body, spiritual body. So the energy will stay in this video, in this transmission, even for those who watch it later. So sort of sit back and relax as I transmit this healing energy to help you release those things that don't serve you. And you might feel a sort of a swirling energy, since I'm working in a swirling pattern. And sometimes I speak in light language. So if I speak in light language, it's helping to dissolve what doesn't serve. Ete anete ane ete enete ananane etete etete ana ete anana etete ana etete enete ete. And taking deep breaths now, notice that you are opening more, almost like a veil. A veil is moving, shifting, opening. And you might feel this in your heart center. You may even see like a glowing light or a color in your heart center. And you may even perceive like a great soul, whichever great soul comes to you, a master soul. And see yourself opening up even more now, and maybe perceiving more colors, perhaps purple. Maybe you can perceive that you have etheric wings, or that your head feels larger, or your third eye is opening. You might feel a heavy cloak fall off you, and that would be the old. That's what doesn't serve. Just don't need it anymore. So let it fall to the ground. And as it falls, you open. And as you breathe in more deeply, you relax more. Letting go of all that doesn't serve. You just simply don't need it. It's not that it was wrong or bad. You just don't need it, so that you can advance more. You can move more on your ascension path. You can perceive more. You can have more. You can do more. And this is a great acceleration. This transmission is an acceleration. The word that's coming to me is speed, rapid, light, opening, awareness, abundance, joy, peace. That's what we're headed towards. And that's who we actually are. That's our divine blueprint. That is our divine birthright. That is our path. It's written in the stars. It's coded. It's encoded into us to open up to all that we are, that all that we are allowed to have, that all that we've been given. And as you open up to this, all of your veils of illusion will drop away so you can perceive yourself as pure peace, pure love, and pure light. Taking deep breaths, integrating. And also grounding so you don't fall asleep or you don't go out into the ethers. Connecting your feet with the floor so that as you integrate this, you are also grounding. And on that note, I'll close the transmission and come back to Adam.
Oh, very nice. Couple of interesting things, that popped up. One is, as you started the transmission, I was kind of going like this, and then maybe 3 seconds later, you said, you may be starting to spin because I'm sending the energies. So that happened. And then when we went to the mind, the heart, it was green, but then when we went to the mind, I saw violet and purple, and they said that you might see purple, like a split second right after that. So we were very keyed in. The interesting thing is, and is it just my interpretation or my guide's way of giving me information? Just asking like what portion of the oversoul am I working? So yes, I got the number 7. So I was like, 7, what 7%? That really sucks. I was thinking, but then they were saying, no, that's good. Most the vast majority of humans are only operating from 1 to 3%, basically. So they're saying 7% is actually very good. I was like, all right, make me feel better. But
yeah, that's actually amazing. And
oh, is
7
it?
is also a great number in numerology, isn't it? We often talk in terms of 7 layers,
Right,
7
7 is kind of
chakras.
odd. It's a very spiritual energy, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I
Uh,
almost wonder if you're operating from 7 souls at the moment.
that could be, the 7
Mm-hmm.
souls. I've been looking a lot at the Pleiades lately, the 7 sisters.
Mm-hmm.
So that was interesting. It's like, yeah, in my mind, I think 7. You mean 70%? I'm like, no, 7. I'm like, all right. But anyway, if that's what they're saying that that's actually very good. So I mean,
Mm-hmm. And you can ask to embody more.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Asking it is given, right? That's what we have to understand is that, we block ourselves. It's our egos. The ego doesn't like change because it's deemed less survivable in our subconscious. So we get blocked in a lot of different ways, but we have to just let that go, be humble and grateful for everything, even
Mm-hmm.
those things that we think are crappy, and ask, and it's given. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
As you said, the challenges often lead to the gifts.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm. The
yeah.
frustrating work for me led to opening up to new abilities.
Yeah, yeah, basically me too. And things that were wrong in my body also. That
Yeah.
just with the eczema, that was the most horrible. And after an especially horrible night, I just was like, being angry and cursing God just not working anymore. Never did work. It's like I
Mm.
ain't gonna let it go. Basically, make a long story short. That's when the healing began, and I stopped itching for a brief time. I was doing yoga, and then synchronicity through songs. I flipped the radio on a song called "The First Flash of Freedom" by
Mhm.
Tom Petty, which is a very, unless you know the album Mojo, which is one of his later works, that's a very obscure song. It never gets airtime. It was playing on the
Mhm.
Woodstock station, and it was right after that. I just like, I've got to like do a different approach, and I got the download just to every day, just do the diet things, do the body cleanses. I was doing that anyway. But
Mhm.
every day, just sit in meditation. This is where mind over matter and will is really important. We're in the Leo season, the season of will right now,
Mhm.
right? Will and strength.
Yeah.
So no matter how bad I was, and I've done this for other things since then, in my mind, I'm not itching. There's no steroids, that I have to put on my skin all the time. And it took 3 years, but I wasn't consistent, but it went away. Like
Mhm.
doctor said, it would never go away. Basically, that I always have to take steroids and medicine. It went away, didn't come back. Um,
Mm.
Behold the power of the mind, the spirit, and intention, right? So
Yeah.
this so ties into the work that you're doing and how you're helping us. So I just wanted to interject that. And I don't know if you have any closing thoughts. Wait, here's an interesting comment. Sorry, I'm missing most of your comments. But Colleen saying that her head was dizzy, then saw a white angelic bird or snowy wings, saw pink and yellow in my heart. Did feel a cloak fall off my back. It sounds like you benefited from that transmission, Colleen. Very good.
Mm. That's big stuff.
Yes. And yeah, a lot of you've had some interesting comments, but I think it feels like it's time to wrap up. And as soon as I said that, the alarm went off. It's like I live near a firehouse
Mhm.
here in Phoenicia. But is there
Wow.
anything that you want to share to close? Oh, let
Mm.
me also, if you want to contact Elaine, I have to go all the way to the top of the thread. You guys have been very active. Yeah, her website's down. That's a contact her uh, for by email,
Yeah.
and I did a set, like I said in the beginning, I did a session. It was amazing. It led to new insights, and I heard great things from Heather, who we're going to see tomorrow. We're going to do a new moon transmission together for this Leo new moon. Very powerful and in exact opposition with Pluto. You have to go to arc minutes to find any variance. So Pluto, the lord of the underworld, is really going to kick things into overdrive. So she does her healing transmissions. It's very beautiful, very powerful. And I work, of course, with the master teachers, and we do energetic transmission, not unlike what Elaine just did for us, basically. So that's her website. Does great work with intuitive, um, medical and intuitive, and distance healing work, and a whole bunch of other things that
And
you
I
can
work with animals too. If people have
work with
pets,
animals. Yes, animal
yeah,
communicator. Yes,
dogs, cats, and cattle, and
probably have a
horses.
lot to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember doing Tai Chi near a cow field at one time, and the cow just walked to me and just stood there and just watched me do Tai Chi for the whole farm and was kind of downloading. I realized in that moment there's a reason that they were sacred in India. I'll put it that way.
Oh, nice. That's nice.
Well,
Yeah. I think
anyway,
if I wanted to say anything, it would be what's coming to me is like stay the course. That it is a challenge. These are challenging times, and the
yes,
energy is very erratic. But to know that you're not alone and that you're always minded and protected, and you've probably all come here for these times, and because of that, you are minded and protected, and you have lots and lots of guides around you looking
yeah,
after you. So just take if you're looking at the news, just be mindful that it could be, as Adam said, drama drummed up so that we the people carry the agenda through. Just take a sort of a jaundiced look at it and look after your own energy and your own peace and your own
yeah.
life.
It's
Yeah.
designed to bring us into lower vibration. Same with social media. There's a reason that the algorithm pushes some posts out that are divisive and angry. And then when you send something really spiritual and beautiful, it's like crickets. It's like it doesn't go
Yeah.
anywhere. It's like, yeah, so it's all designed that way. And like Elaine was saying, absolutely stay the course. Yeah, there's pressure against spirituality because they lose. Those that want to control humanity, they lose if we have a collective awakening. So on so many different levels, we are being, literally attacked vibrationally, energetically, in all ways, but they cannot penetrate the power of the human heart, because that connects us directly with spirit, source, or God. So when you're in the heart, you're in the eye of the storm. So when you feel frustrated, that's what I do. I do a little bit of heart brain coherence, a little bit of breathing. I'm like, I'm back. I'm better again.
Brilliant.
Anyway,
Mhm.
thank you once again, Elaine, for sharing your beautiful gifts and stories and insights with us. We'll have to do this again sometime.
Yes, thank you, Adam. It's so kind of you to share your channel with me.
Oh, my pleasure. And so kind of
Mhm.
you to come on. Your time is your life. So thanks for sharing it with us.
Mhm.
And we will see you all next time. And tomorrow, 8 o'clock again, we're going to do powerful new moon transmissions at 11:11. A very interesting channeling. I'm going to upload that to the channel 11:11 a.m. tomorrow, about escaping the matrix. And what they had to say about it was like, oh, okay, it kind of changed my perspective a little bit. And I think it will for you guys also. So anyway, it's only 9 minutes long, very, very short video. So watch it. Anyway, thanks everybody. We're signing off. Stay in the heart, stay in the power, stay in the eye of the storm. And we're going to get through it, and we're going to reach our new land, our new ascension, and our new beginning, our new dawn awaits us. Good night. Love you.
Good night.